If I ever happen to stammer in any of these videos, I'm not trying to be funny. I just stammer and can't be bothered to start the video over. So, yeah, live with it. Looks like dust. Out of focus dust. Oh, not dust. The thing is, I've just gone to a video and it's on My Digital Lifestyle channel on YouTube. Compilation of paranormal evidence clips. Super creepy. Well, no. I don't call that evidence. And you say it's not dust? Okay, prove it. Oh, you can't. Hey, if we go to the same area, record again with any camera, whether it's my Sony A7R Mark II for high resolution, or we get someone's, I don't know, whatever really. Get any camera, which is capable of recording high definition or 4K, which is ultra high definition, or better. Why not? Or just simply something that's just like good enough to use and say, oh, well, we can see what's going on. Maybe get something that's good for low light, like the A7S, or A7S Mark II, or the Mark III that might come out this year, unless Corona wipes that out. But yeah, get that and then confirm the same in the same location. Get a better camera, in other words. Because people record this kind of stuff, and you hear rustling and things like that, and it's like, it's not orbs. Okay, sorry, it's not dust, but it's orbs. It's like, how do you know it's orbs? They're just out of focus elements. Are those orbs? Like when you get like kind of bokeh balls in photography. So background blur, you get like some kind of point of light or something. It looks like a round ball because it's so out of focus because of the shallow depth of field. With this, cameras aren't made to take pictures of things right on the lens, or practically right on the lens. The lenses they have, even those when you have interchangeable lenses, typically are not made for what you could describe as ultimate or super macro kind of photography. So, yeah, in pretty much every camera you're going to get close-up elements as opposed to those far away, looking really blurry. With modern phones like my phone, actually, it's got two cameras, and it's basically one which is Zeiss lenses apparently. You can't really tell, it's just a mobile phone, so you wouldn't really know. But if you're recording really close up, then you end up with, well, I'll just do it with my hand now. You won't be able to see it, but I can confirm it. You can focus quite close up, like say within, I don't know, 1/10 of a meter, so 0.5 meters. My fingernails look awful. You can tell I bite them. Well, I can because I'm seeing my actual thumb. But it blurs out the background in such a way that it gives that kind of bokeh effect, or that background blur effect. And with certain points of light and colour in the distance, they look like balls. Now, if you do the same thing, yeah, I said balls. With things close up, you also get the same effect, like dust caught in the lights, they're illuminated, things of that kind. When they're close up, you get the same out of focus elements. That's what we're talking about, out of focus elements. It looks like orbs. And I know we should be watching more of this video rather than me rambling, but these videos are all about me rambling, responding to, and giving hopefully a reasonable position on what I think these things are. I would say this is probably an intentional error considering the almost ferocity of these so-called orbs. Sorry, that just strikes me as pathetic. Maybe this is parody. I don't know.
Let's hope this tinsel doesn't hurt.
This is weird. Let's move on to something better. Okay, that isn't very impressive. Even less impressive than most of the things I've dealt with recently in these videos. Sad to say that a lot of this stuff called evidence is in fact quite poor. So let's move on to another video. Okay then, here's one where it's basically a compilation. I'm going to lower that because of the man's voice, so we don't want that. We just want to watch
Security
the
cameras survey the area around the elevator.
I mean, this one I believe to be an obvious fake. It could be, okay, it could be recorded on CCTV.
In the bottom right, for a second, a light
Or
appears.
positioned, GoPro cams. It wouldn't be hard to do that. Allegedly, it's from a hotel in Singapore. That's the claim. And slow it a bit more because I don't like this music. Now, you basically end it with them getting into the lift. So they've gone do into the lift. And it's as they're getting out of the lift, you end up with the thing. I don't know why there's that bit of static on the camera. Only on that camera. Perhaps it's as the lift moves, there's a fluctuation in power. Is that what we're meant to believe? Why is there a green cask or cast to everything in the image? It's debatable. It's as they get out. So as they're about to get out, you eventually end up with the actual phenomena. So they've reached their floor, the doors have opened, they're leaving. Oh, look, there's an old person. Just pause that. I don't believe this one for an instant, although I know it's very, very popular. I know it's very popular, and people like to say it's something remarkable, it proves ghosts, when really it's like, no, this just looks like an obvious fake, to be honest. The way it appears, you could do that quite easily. If the light is stable within the lift, you can actually make it look like that. It could easily have been staged. But yeah, it's hardly the most evidential thing in the world. Right then, another one in this video is one of where they're going around the corner. There's this room, they're ghost hunting, go into a room, looks like there's a girl, and they decide to leave it alone. Yeah, this is the weird thing. If you went into the situation and it looked like there's a kid there, you'd probably check on it, wouldn't you? You'd think. Maybe get out a real flashlight and instead of just using the night vision or whatever you happen to be using, goes away for a second. And it's time for someone to go in there and hide something and put something up. And they put up this weird kind of spooky thing, which you can't really make out, and then they run off. We're expected to believe that's evidence, are we? Oh, this is another one of a peculiar one. This one I just checked out the commentary. Basically, there's stuff moving in the bushes. Family notices it. It's in the distance, very low quality, very unclear. Clearly, the image has been ramped up to some degree. You have objects moving over. What are they? You just don't know. Could it be, I don't know, birds, or that looks like there could be a person? It's very unclear. So, I don't know. A heavily cropped image with not enough data in the actual image to work out anything. So just pause that. This is actually on a video on Terabyte. What is it? On sorry, the YouTube channel On Demand Entertainment, and the video is called "Terrifying Footage Proves Existence of Ghosts?" ? Kind of clickbait. And this has over nearly 2 million views. Actually, nearly 2 million views. So good job. But I don't see anything really convincing there. So let's move on to yet another video. Right then, just move forward a little bit to remove the intro. This is from a channel called Scary Videos, and it's top 10 best evidence of ghosts caught on tape. Real footage. Yeah, let's give this a go. I've turned off the music, the audio, because otherwise, it might mean a copyright issue. So it seems like royalty-free music, but you never can tell. Well, you can sometimes, but not all the time. So there's that there. I don't know where the ghosts are meant to be. If you see a ghost, let me know. There's some people to the far right of this image, and some people on the right sitting on a bench. Looks more like it's just people out and about. I don't need my headphones in. Is that meant to be a person there? That just looks like a person. walking in the dark for some reason along... Is that along a wall or along another path? Looks like a wall. So, yeah. I mean, the odds are there's people knocking around at night, some sitting on benches for God knows what reason. Some people probably, they could be dealing drugs or anything, to be entirely honest. It's not hugely remarkable, looks genuine, like it's not an import into the actual video, although it's hard to tell, you might disagree. Lots of noise in there, you can't make out any clear features. Likely to be a person wearing a dark top, and it's short sleeve because you can see much of their arm, so it's likely to be the case in that case, and not something hugely remarkable. It's like you can't make out the details there, too far away, too in the dark. Slightly lighter towards where those people are sitting on the bench because of the lamppost. And yeah, slight illumination, but clearly not enough illumination to basically show what it is. Sure, someone would take that image and say it's some kind of great urban legend. But there you are. Hopefully it's the next video next. To avoid anyone else's commentary, I don't see the point in hearing other people's opinions unless it's relevant, and there's no need to have the creepy music on. So, what are we meant to be looking at? If you miss it, you're not the only one. Is it meant to be that little bit of, is that light flare? Looks like it. Or a thing on a... Is that on a lamp? Okay, is that meant to be a thing? I don't know what that is. Could be part of a bush. Does it actually move? I didn't see it move, but maybe it does. Could be easily part of a branch or something. Still there. Problem with recording in low light as well. You can't make fuck all out apart from the major shapes. But at least they're not trying to say that bit of light flaring and other issues with the image are in fact something paranormal. That would be quite irrational if they went in that direction. So I'm glad they're not going that far. Oh, no, it looks like something may have moved then. Doesn't mean it's paranormal, it means it's something interesting. Does it? Get to the point. It looks like a branch. It's got a bit of a shape like a big frog or something. Could be a monkey. But there's no reason to presume that's the case. Can't really make any features. Is it something hanging off the lamppost? Like that? What's that meant to be? I mean, if this is recorded in India or somewhere like that, then a possibility of a monkey isn't so mad. So, no. I'm not hugely impressed. Should I be? I think only the lighting changes when the camera pans away, and it doesn't look like there's anything really evidential. So there you are. Oh, that's actually edited in, you can tell. The way that's edited in, with that black shape walking across the screen. Yeah, that's quite obviously, edited into the actual image. It's like he walks through the traffic. Got a person there with their bike. I thought they actually had a dog with them at first. And they get on their bike, but it's almost like someone walks through the lights of the car, as if they're hit by the car, you'd think. Maybe it's just the way the image looks. You see that? The way it's edited? The way that dimmed as it did? Obvious signs of video editing, by the way. So go back to that point. See that there? See the contrast on the character? Doesn't match the surrounding area. I mean, that's what you'd expect with the paranormal, is it? No. Maybe the arrow is paranormal as well. No, that's video editing, obviously, by people since. But it doesn't actually match with the surrounding background. The way in which the shadow is done isn't terrible. They've given it a shadow, but the shadow should be over here, as opposed to over there, because the lighting off this car is leading over here. They've done it the same off this person there, the shape there, but the shadow itself should be leading that way. So if that's a shadow, so it goes, It's there. What's okay? So you'd expect that kind of lighting a little bit there. That makes more sense because it's coming off the lamp. But it's still different, and it's at a different angle. In fact, that shadow from where that is, where that person seems to be, should be pointing more that way. At least that's my opinion, but it doesn't look very convincing to me. So let's move on from that one. Let's just say it looks like a very transparent, softened version of a person walking across the road. They may have blurred images together to make this image, like record two segments of the same street and then blur it together. But I'm not very convinced. You see that? That is obviously fake, the way it doesn't match with the background. This is extreme close-up, obviously. So there it is appearing. Oh, try and get the image for you to show you what's wrong with that. The shadow should be coming along here. Why is the shadow pointing there? If the light is up here, at the top of this pole, it should be shining that way, and later should be shining more across because it's crossing across the light. And with the light of the car here, the coming car, not the car there, should be going the other way. The light of the coming car, if it was affecting there here, it should actually be dimming that light. And look how fake that looks. And it vanishes, and they see they add it back in before the car is fully passed. That's funny. Let me just get that moment. You see the way that comes in with the shadow? The shadow is reaching quite far, but the light is quite high, so the light behind the actual person, the edited in person, should also be a smaller shadow because the light's coming from above. So if they're not affected by the lights of this car or that car, the light from the pole should lead to a smaller shadow as opposed to a long one, although the angle isn't too far off at that distance. But the angle of the shadow doesn't change here and remains the same, constant, even though the light source isn't, it is in fact changing perspective due to its relative position. So it should be shining across here. That shadow which is going down here should be going across there. And actually there should be a slight shadow from across here perhaps. Is there a slight shadow? No, it's just the one shadow. Looks to me like slightly naff editing. I wouldn't call it the best evidence unless you've never heard of video editing. And yes, I've been able to make a couple of fakes myself. It's not too difficult. Yeah, ghost activity caught on camera. Right. Get to the fucking point. It looks like another one. Could be in India. Hard to tell with the vehicles. Looks somewhere like that. What we're meant to be looking at. It's the thing with a lot of these. You're meant to be recognising something in it, but they still have to tell you. Unless it's something obvious. So is it over to the right of the screen? You've got some stuff over there. Got a person who's there, obvious person. Is the person going to come up the street, or... that shadow doesn't look quite right. See how that shadow is almost resisting the thing? It looked a bit weird. Is that going to be their thing? Okay, there's a shadow person there, or person sitting in the shade. For the top 10 best, I would expect more. I know this kind of stuff is clickbait anyway. And half the people who believe in that kind of thing believe in demons and such. And there's more of this kind of stuff on that YouTube channel. Worth checking out. This video, by the way, this compilation, which I'm responding to, giving my commentary on, obviously covered by fair use. It was made a few years ago, but it's got over 360,000 views. So that's pretty decent. That shadow looks fake, doesn't it? The dark person sitting down, I don't know. That shadowy kind of person who isn't really there. And the person might say, hey, the guy with the tan kind of clothing. He turned around and spoke to him. No, he looked around to see, you know, if the car was coming. So, hey, that looks a bit like a person who could still be there. Looks like they were, hidden by the van. So then you can't see them after that point. So we don't know they've actually moved. You just have him come around. There's a kind of fake shadow which isn't in step with him, but you wouldn't expect it to be. And he turns around to make sure there isn't a car coming. A person would say that's interaction with a person he thinks is real, like a ghost or something. So I wouldn't call that a mysterious creature. Is it going to be Schlendy? Schlenderman? Hello, this is Schlenderman. I have slender arms and slender things and I live in the woods, wearing a nice black suit. Well, is it going to be a really obvious fake one? I don't mind clicking on these, you know. It's kind of clickbait, so it's fun just to go through some of the best and the worst of some of these images, give your opinion, you know, and share your thoughts. What's that there? Oh, that's computerized. Yeah, that's computerized. To show a close-up, you'll see just how CGI that looks. The jerky motion, the way it's tried to hide it, well, it's tried to be hidden in the shadow. It looks like it's been lifted from something else, actually, as a basic 3D animation. You know, you see that? Yeah, that looks like very similar to a 3D animation I've seen, you know, before. I've seen people make sort of like greys and things like that, like Aliens. This one's obviously the coloration has been made to blend in. It's been left somewhat transparent. I won't call it terribly convincing, to be honest. So that's pretty much the end of that video, barring a few seconds. Let's move on to another one of these with creepy music that people tend to watch around about Halloween, but this particular video, which is from 2015, made by Supernatural. So the Tural of natural is capitalised. The T is capitalised. So Supernatural. Only 274 views. Made in December 2015? Unless the arrangement of the times are different because of different parts of the world. I don't know how that works. But yeah, that's the YouTuber Supernatural. Or Supernatural. Supposedly good evidence. I've left the audio on mute again because of this crap, like royalty-free music. So here we go. He's looking around the room. I just saw this one. I haven't seen the others in this video yet. And he's filming the mirror for some reason, and all things go by. There's a person. And there they go back. You know, it's just like set up, so it's like, oh, at least I'm not looking directly at it, so it's less likely to be a hoax, is the idea. That's how a lot of people do these tricks. They make it seem like it's not a hoax. Wink. So, let's see about this one. Some flappy stuff around the camera lens. Unless I'm mistaken, I've mentioned before about out of focus elements. Like parts of the image, aspects of the image, what you would see through the lens, what is collected by the sensor, something blowing in front of it. Say, for example, a thick cobweb, which is quite plausible. Now this one, I'm not seeing anything yet. A bit of flaring on a screen or something, is it? Is this filmed in a vehicle? Oh, there's something up the track. What we got here? These videos are pretty much just me doing a running commentary on some of these paranormalist videos. So this isn't very clear. Is it meant to be a person or a coyote or something? Or, oh, it's a person. Yeah. So why would you be standing out there in the middle of nowhere? Probably just a trick. You know, someone, like your mate's dressed in like white bed sheets. Spooky video. People like that kind of stuff. And I missed that one. Replay. Give me an arrow. I didn't see anything there, so if you did, then mention it in the comments. Let me see. Oh, is this one I went to before? It's one where there's a girl around the corner. This is one we saw earlier in this video, actually. There's a girl around the corner, or it looks like a kid in the corner. See down there, on the left, at the back. So it's like, oh, there's just a bag or something, or maybe it's a kid. And they decide to step away. Oh, yes, what I'm going to do, there's definitely a person there. I'm definitely going to just step away. But then I'm just going to suddenly whip back and check. Conveniently, when there's been enough time for a person to move or something to be moved in its place. And suddenly in the middle of the area, you see some kind of weird, spindly, kind of creepy pasta thing. So that's a convenient thing you tend to see fairly often. And those aren't very convincing at all. You know? You see things like that where they're just unconvincing. Some of these are actually made as kind of like a promotional thing for games and films and things. They just put them out there, you know, like all the stuff around Nibiru 2012. And there's a weird face thing that was computer edited, I imagine. So, yeah, I'm just not convinced by this kind of stuff. So, if you're into that kind of thing, you know, whatever floats your boat, I'm just not, you know, convinced by this kind of bullshit.